Awesome. Hello. If I have not met you yet, my name's Katie. I am the director here at CAEE, and I have been through about every piece of the certification process. So hopefully I can do a decent job at explaining how to review certification portfolios today. I have been on the committee that designed this program, went through the process myself, and now participate in the reviews and processing of portfolios. So, first off, just thank you so much for taking the time to review portfolios. We could not do this program without you, and your expertise in sending feedback to folks is really helping them support their growth as an environmental and outdoor educator. So we so appreciate you and the time that you bring to this process. As you probably know, you may be here just to refresh, or you may be here to learn the process from the beginning. So hopefully this is helpful. You may know that the goals of the certification program are to really affirm and celebrate our environmental educators in Colorado and the skills that they have, and give public recognition to that. We want to increase the capacity to for folks to improve their environmental education and instruction. And we want to widen the importance of environmental and outdoor learning in this world by making it a little more credible and having some background around what good environmental and outdoor learning looks like. So as you jump in, this process of reviewing is subjective. You are reading and scoring materials that educators have spent hours putting together that demonstrate their mastery of a set of competencies that are pulled from the Guidelines for Excellence in Environmental Education. We always have three reviewers review each portfolio and determine if they have met that competency or not. And that's because as reviewers, we're not perfect. We miss things. We might not see things or see things differently. And so we always have three, so that if we miss something, maybe someone else will pick it up. At the end of the process, we always provide feedback to each educator to help them improve their practice, grow in the field, and ultimately get that certification. There are a couple steps in the process to certification reviewing. First and foremost, we always want you to review the rubric so that you know what's in there. No matter how many times you've read it, it is helpful to take it out and glance through it at least one more time before you begin reviewing the portfolios. We will provide a summary sheet that you can put notes on, take notes as you're reading. Um, we really want you to focus on the reflection piece of the portfolio. How does the applicant describe their process and their learning in their own education practice? You want to look at the evidence that's provided and try to not make assumptions about what is not there. We will never tell someone that they are not certified. We will tell them that we need more information in order to make a decision and ask them to send additional information. And so if you don't see what you're looking for there, we can ask for a different additional evidence. As you move through portfolios, you're going to use the rubric to decide whether they are really a novice in that category, whether they are developing, or whether they have mastered that particular competency. This is not grading in the traditional sense. You are just deciding they're there or they're not there, or you need to see more information to know. And so no need to grade and take time to make those small comments that you would do if you were, say, grading this work. You want to try your best to move quickly through the process as you're looking for evidence and providing feedback. Do you see it? Do you not see it? Try not to agonize over any particular competency because we can't agonize fairly across multiple people. If you don't see it, that's okay. We'll bring it back to the discussion and talk about it as a group. Once you've scored your portfolio, you just record your notes and your scores, and you can move to the next one. There's really no time limit in terms of the best way to review portfolios, but it's best to try and get into a rhythm that allows you to score portfolios in the same way every time. Some scores are really fast and some take much longer. It's based on your own experience and style. The best thing to do is to just be consistent with how you score the portfolios. You don't want to put more detail and agonize more over one than you do over another. The question that we generally encourage you to use in order to help you get out of the agonizing and really think about, is it there or is it not there? Is it blue? Which sounds like a weird question. But if you look at the first picture and this gentleman's shirt, that is a blue shirt. It is completely blue. It is blue. You can see it. It's there. Easy to say that's blue. When you look at the second picture of the plate and you've got some blue and white checks on those plates, where does that fall? Is that blue? Well, it's probably mostly blue. It's mostly there. And then you look at the water bottle and you see it's got a blue cap. The cap is very blue, but the water bottle itself isn't blue. A lot of the evidence might look like that. You might see something and you go, well, I see it. It's there. It's just not all the way there. When we're looking and scoring, you want to be looking for, is it mostly blue? Is it mostly there? It's okay if it's not 100% all the way, but we want to make sure that this person has a good sense of the competency and can move forward with that. And we really want to make sure that we're holding folks to a high standard of what high quality environmental education looks like. Little funny, but this question can be helpful to fall back on if you're being a little too strict or not strict enough. Kind of looking back to that, is it mostly blue? So going back to the process and the steps, again, like we said, the first step is to review the rubric. We want to make sure we're familiar with the things that are in a portfolio. Sometimes you might see something for theme 4 when you're reading materials for theme 1. And so it's a really good idea to read the rubric in its entirety before you get started and just refresh yourself, especially if you're reviewing multiple levels of certification. It's easy to get confused when you're looking at portfolios that are different types of what's in each one. So always good to review the rubric before you get started. If there are any competencies that you're reading and you're like, actually, I need to know more about that, you can always feel free to reach out, think about what needs clarifications. Is there anything in the rubric that isn't clear to you before you get started? And you can reach out to me or other reviewers to make sure you're feeling good about that before you get started. Step 2, dive in. You get to review the portfolios. In general, know that the first one will probably take you the longest, But remember that you don't need to read everything in a portfolio, especially with the master portfolios. They can sometimes be 150 or 200 pages long. That's a lot of material. While it's easy to miss things, it's also important that once you see a competency, you don't need to keep reading. You can see it, write your comments on there, and keep going and start looking for the next one. It's generally helpful to record notes as you go after each theme. There is a Google form that you will fill out with your comments at the end, but they're easier to remember if you keep them as you're going along. If it is a resubmit, someone who has submitted their portfolio and we asked for new information, additional information, they don't need to submit everything again. So they're only submitting the new information. So it's really helpful if you review the feedback letter from the initial review before you get started. And that should be in the folder for you as you're getting started. So you know what reviewers were looking for and what they felt like was missing. Oops, jumped ahead. As I said, step 3 is to record your score and enter your comments into the Google form. Having them in a written feed form before our call helps us compile them so you can see what everyone else's comments were and read them. And it helps, especially when there's a gap between the time that you reviewed the portfolio and the time that you are talking about it and discussing it, to make sure you remember what your thoughts were. So, in your thoughts, don't be afraid to record your own notes that just help you remember the portfolio, as well as comments that you would send back to them if it's helpful to you to see those and have those there. All the links for the different feedback forms are in this set of slides, and we will also send them out to you with every review, so you have them handy in your email. And then finally, step 4 is that reviewer discussion. And this is a really important part of the process because we're human and we miss things and we see things with different perspectives. And so we will do our best to schedule a call and get all of the reviewers on that call to come to consensus. And we'll decide as a group, where do we fall? And oftentimes, will come up in our scores, or we might ask for more information based on that conversation. And so that can be really, really helpful and a way to connect with other reviewers. That is the quick summary of scoring portfolios. Again, reach out as you have questions. We continue to revise the rubric to make it clearer and easier to understand as we find things that are confusing to folks. But again, we are so, so grateful for your time and your energy and the expertise that you bring to this process in really helping build these credentials of environmental and outdoor educators, and in turn, the credibility of the entire field of environmental and outdoor learning. So know how much we appreciate you. And again, please reach out with any questions.